After a critical warp engine failure left me and my crew stranded in the dark sector of space with limited life-sustaining systems, we spent most of our time sending help signals and maintaining the life support system. After several weeks living on limited life support in a twisted void wormhole, we were barely moving from the workstations we were assigned to. Suddenly, the lights blinked in a beautiful hue of green, and I felt the soothing voice of the onboard computer announce restrictions were no longer necessary. Living conditions had unexpectedly and spontaneously stabilized. Scant moments later, I felt the rush of freshly oxygenated blood fill my brain. It was as if I could feel my very blood cells surging to deliver much-needed oxygen to every depleted cell in my body. I realized I could think more clearly, and I looked up and saw what was going on outside the observation deck. I immediately threw myself into the captain's seat as the downward spiral took hold of the stricken ship, falling from the rapidly collapsing orbit of an unknown planet, on a collision course with a mountain of some kind. I mustered every neuron in my brain, desperately trying to remember the procedure in case of a collision course, but I could not recall any such situation from the Academy pilot training of just 5 years ago. With sudden clarity, I recalled my pilot instructor showing me how to exit from a downward spiral in an old Pierce X5. The Pierce X6 is much more powerful than the X5, I thought to myself, and remembered my instructor's last words to me at the graduation ceremony of the Academy: "Keep it frosty, cadet." Such a strange choice of words. I knew English was not his first language, but I understood the meaning anyway, and those words had saved my life many times in dangerous situations. I did my best to change the movement vector of the ship and steered us into a body of water in whose reflection I remember seeing the dominating reflection of the mountain. I tried to maintain the course for a gentle landing, but with our thrusters irreparably damaged, the USS Salvation span wildly out of control. I don't remember whether I lost consciousness due to vertigo or because of the collision. The next thing I remembered was hearing an angelic melody which brought calmness and harmony to my brain cells. I calmly opened my eyes and did not feel any pain or fear. As I lifted up my hand to look at it, I realized I was lying in a comfortable bed in some sort of a hospital facility, surrounded by attentive and pleasant humanoids who were attending to the other patients. In the moments that followed, 2 of them approached my bed. They were humanoids for sure, bipedal and conscious of my intentions. The one closest to me spoke in a pleasant and calming voice. He said, "Dear sir, welcome to our humble home. Your spacecraft entered orbit of our beloved planet with all the crew unconscious. According to our scanners, you were the only one who awoke from what we presume was the overheating of the cabin where you were lying down. We are still analyzing the data, but from what we now know, you somehow managed to steer your spacecraft away from colliding with one of our most sacred mountains. Thanks to your efforts, you landed in our sacred lake and saved the lives of everyone on board. It is my honor to be the one to welcome you to our planet." Then he knelt on a floor that looked as though it were made of marble and kissed the ground. The medic next to him did the same. After a momentary pause, they both stood, and I noticed other medics move to gather around my bed. In a melodic, almost musical tone, they chorused in unison, "Welcome to the Plentiful Society, sir." I was shocked, my jaw dropping at the realization they were fluently speaking my language. My mind was racing, desperately seeking some hidden memory or connection, but drawing a distinct blank. I had never heard of a Plentiful Society. The society I come from is a consumerist society, and it was incredible to listen to them talk about their philosophy and values. My crew and I have all since recovered swiftly and enjoyed the company of the local population for 77 days. The Plentiful Society itself was not much more advanced than my species. However, they were willing to share information with us about their culture, technology and politics. What we learned there, we were eager to bring back home for our society to analyze. As I reminisce about it now, I remember that similar values had once existed on my home planet, but were forgotten long ago. The words of the injured soldier in the bed adjacent to mine in that hospital facility, I will always remember. The principal idea is to kiss the ground and worship it. Not for the sake of worshipping, but because I understand what price was paid for my freedom to stand on this ground. I will continue to do it gladly and proudly. And I look forward with joy to the moment when I will be able to prove the right to stand on the ground that I kiss and worship. From my species' own language, this concept is sometimes translated as, I am, because we are.